Hi students, this video is a short tutorial that I'm making in response to one of my students who asked if I would remind her, how do you tell what key your piece is in, and like whether you have high twos or low twos or things like that. All right, so this is not really technically a music theory lesson, because if I were teaching a music theory class, I would be teaching this a little bit differently. This video is for violin students, specifically Suzuki violin students in books 1 and 2, um, because we all begin playing in the same key, and not every method does that, but Suzuki's kind of, everywhere. And so I think this can be helpful for a lot of beginning or intermediate violin students. All right, so around the time, if you are a Suzuki student, that you would get to about the first, through the first half of book 1, you will all of a sudden begin to be playing pieces in different keys. And then you will learn what a low second finger, or what we call low 2, is. And so then from then on, you're always, you have to be aware of what key your piece is in, and that means where your fingers are in relation to where we originally put tapes when you were a beginner. When you're a beginner, you have a 1, 2, 3 finger tape, and you don't know at that point that eventually we're going to call that 2 high 2, because later we're going to make it low. And of course, making it low means that it's a half step from first finger instead of a half step from third finger. Anyway, if this video applies to you by now, you know all that stuff probably, because I wouldn't be teaching a brand new beginner this. All right, so when you begin playing songs like Twinkle, Twinkle Little Star, Allegro, Long, Long Ago, all of those first half of book 1 pieces, if you look in your book at the music, you will see this key signature with 3 sharps as the key that you're in, and that's called the key of A major. So I have written here the A major scale that you would learn in the beginning of your violin studies. Now I'm going to tell you what these 3 sharps represent and what they mean for what you're playing on your fingerboard. Okay, so these are 3 sharps, and they are F sharp because it goes, the little box inside there goes through the F sharp line. Then we have C sharp because the box part, whatever you want to call it, the inside of the sharp is on C, so that's C sharp. And finally, on the above the top line is G, so that's G sharp. All right, and here's what, just as a practical application to just playing violin, this G sharp is high 2 on E string, or what you would just call 2 as a beginner, because it's where we put your finger tape. So this is high 2 on E, G sharp. This C sharp is high 2 on A, and this F sharp is high 2 on D string. It is also regular 1 on E string. So that first finger that you put on E string when it's on the tape, that's actually an F sharp. So, just because your finger's on the tape doesn't mean it's a natural note or a flat note or a sharp note, okay? It really depends on what the string is. If it's an E string, well then, first finger is F sharp. If it's A string, first finger is just B natural. So, that's too much for this video, so I'm gonna stop there. Anyway, all right, so if you have a piece with 3 sharps, and they always go in the same order, F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp, you've got high 2 on all 4 strings. And most likely at that point in your Suzuki book, you're only playing songs on the A and E string anyway. So it's a very easy finger pattern of the 1, 2, 3, in which the 2 and the 3 are touching, and that's called a half step. Okay, about halfway through Suzuki book 1, we're going to get rid of this sharp and play pieces in the key of D major. And that's when you learn your D scale and songs like Allegretto and Andantino. And so, I could write down the notes of the D scale. But what the point is here, if you were to play on E string, you would play a low 2. Okay, but in those first few songs in D major, we don't play on E string. So, what difference does it make? Well, that high 2 on E is a G sharp, and if you were to play G on the D string with that sharp there, it would actually have to be a high 3 because then it would be G sharp. But third finger on D string, regular third finger, is just G natural. So that also makes it work out for your D scale and D string playing, that you just still are continuing to play only the notes on the fingertips, and it, works out. Finally, you get to the song called Etude in Book 1, and you are now, at that point, in the key of G. All right, so you've got one sharp, you're in the key of G. You now have still high 2 on G and D strings, but you have low 2 on A and E, plus in the song Etude, you begin playing those low 2s because you begin playing again on A and E string. So that's when you really learn the concept of low 2 and make it work for you. All right, so to sum up, and you know what, I think I'll just get rid of this. I wasn't sure where I was going with this A scale I had written out, but I don't think we really need it. All right, so putting them back, I'll just do a quick recap of what I just said. 3 sharps, the key of A, all high 2s. 2 sharps, the key of D, low 2 on E, high 2 on all the other strings. And finally, the key of G, high 2 on G and D strings, low 2 on A and E strings. And the key of G is also, I just wanted to say, where you would begin Suzuki Book 2. You continue for a while to play songs in G major and D major until we even get into flats and minor keys and things. But all right, so I'll stop this video here. Hopefully that made sense. I didn't really rehearse, and I just hope that this helps you as you play through your pieces on your own. Bye.